cmpradio.net. It's the station.
All right, welcome to cmpradio.net, the voice of Chester. Welcome to the wonderful world of Rich Blye. Coming to you live every Monday, starting around 7-ish, depending upon the traffic, coming all the way from out of, the most eastern part to the most western part to the tip of everything. Like I said, traveling man. I'm a traveling man. It's the start of a new week, but the best thing about it is that the sunshine. Folks, get down in the sunshine. Oh, my goodness. Thank you, Lord, for that sunshine today. I mean, I don't even have to pray. I'm just going to rejoice and be happy that the sun came out today, that I got to see it, that I got to feel it, that I got to feel that warmth on my skin. Oh, I think for some people, you have to understand this about this particular black man. I need the tone of my melanin to match, and enough of this winter because it's not matching. It's like checkerboard, a little bit of black, a little bit of light, I don't know what's going on this year, but I can't wait for the full blast of the sunlight and the sun rays, so that way we can really get this thing on and popping. So I can feel the strength that comes from that natural vitamin D that is necessary and we all need. Amen? Amen. All right. Listen, we have some things to talk about. And in this segment, Where Have All the Flowers Gone, is kind of a tribute and a challenge. As usual, it is Monday, Men's Mental Health Day. This is solidly the day to talk about men's mental health. I am your host for it because we're going to talk about that too, because all this week I've seen a lot of comments and I've heard a lot of commentary, and I come here as a careful observer of all of the shows this week. And pretty much everything that's said from all of the segments, like you guys have to watch the segments here at the radio station. You really do. Like big ups to everybody that participates and really, comes to this table to put forth a product, whether it be for my audience or anybody else's audience. It's good to know that there are some people that have something to say. Positive, negative, or just say it, say with the chest, say what they need to say, uncomfortable conversations, the Cut Up Show and several others. And y'all know who the superstars are. I'm the up and coming kid. I'm the kind of the new kid on the block. And, I run solo dolo sometimes because I have to get some of my favorite guests to come on up here to the station. But like I said, the sun has come out, so hopefully I'll be getting those returns on people who said that they're going to show up. Okay, let me fix that, adjust that real quick. All right. Folks, as usual, like I said, I start my day and start the segment off with prayer. But like I said, today I'm just going to rejoice, and I'm going to thank God for this beautiful day and the sunshine today. Today's scripture reading comes from the book of Isaiah chapter 43. The Lord comforts with his promises. But now thus saith the Lord that created thee, O Jacob, and he that formed thee, O Israel, fear not, for I have redeemed thee. I have called thee by thy name. Thou art mine. When thou passest through the waters, I will be with thee, and through the rivers, they shall not overflow thee. When thou walkest through the fire, thou shalt not be burned, neither shall the flame kindle upon thee. For I am the Lord thy God, the Holy One of Israel, thy Savior. I gave Egypt for thy ransom, Ethiopia and Seba for thee. Since thou was precious in my sight, thou hast been honorable, and I have loved thee. Therefore I will give men for thee and people for thy life. Fear not, for I am with thee. I will bring thy seed from the east and gather from the west. I will say to the north, give up, and to the south, keep not back. Bring my sons from far and my daughters from the ends of the earth. Even everyone that is called by my name, for I have created him in my glory. I have formed him, yea, I have made him. Bring forth the blind people that have eyes, and the deaf that have ears. Let all the nations be gathered together, and let the people be assembled. Who among them can declare this and show us former things? Let them bring forth their witnesses, that they may be justified, or let them hear and say, it is truth. Ye are my witnesses, saith the Lord, and my servant, who I have chosen, that ye may know and believe me and understand that I am he. Before me there was no God formed, neither shall there be after me. Even even I am the Lord, and beside me there is no Savior. I have declared, and I have saved, and I have showed, when there was no strange God among you. Therefore you are my witnesses, saith the Lord, that I am God. I have declared, I have saved, and I have shown. Yea, before the day was, I am he, and there is none that can deliver out of my hand. I will work, and who shall let it? Like I said, there's always a particular reason why I read the scripture for my therapy daily. And there's always a reason why I feel as though that is relevant to today's events. Because I really feel as though that after a lot of a public opinion and after a lot of general experiences with folks, in my opinion, I'm led to believe that we kind of need to thrive off of dysfunction in order to function. Am I kind of right in saying that? Because it seems like, life's real messy, but it's real interesting when it is. I mean, I don't feel that way. But after hearing, every discussion about struggle, With a large exception of physical ailments and a large exception to things that are carried on, with humans biologically, there are things that cannot just be, wished away, so to speak. But I really feel as though that we're at an age where we just want to keep complaining and not really look at the hard truth and come up with this code of conduct that we're supposed to have under the word of God. Because I hear a lot of people invoke God bless you. I hear a lot of people, especially during this period of fasting of Ramadan, with great respect, with Lent, with great respect. But I keep seeing all this hate on your pages. What's going on for real? I mean, are we not all made in the images of God? Now, see, I just read the book of Isaiah 43, chapter 43, because that's how God sees you. That's not my words. That's how God sees you. And I believe that when I read that's how God sees me, that he knows who I am. And I don't think that a lot of times, as much as we can, be honest with ourselves about how we feel about ourselves more or less than worrying about how others feel about you, or things from the past that that it should be dealt with. I see a lot of opinions, and excuse me, ladies, y'all know how I get, but I got to bring this up. Hold on a second. Let me bring this into the universe. I firmly believe that the way that God sees me is not going to be the way that any woman will see me. Fair enough? I don't think I need to elaborate. Today is Men's Mental Health Day. It's a day dedicated for men. It's a space for men. I need the men to make sure that they're listening, because you have to lead by example instead of constantly critiquing us from your point of view. I think the biggest part of any man getting therapy is not talking too much about it to his significant other. I think that that's number one rule. Number one. Because of the simple fact is that, one, it's not your significant other's burden. It's your trauma. You're supposed to do something about it. You're supposed to do something about it. If you get hurt, you break your arm, skin your knee, you get some antiseptic, you put a Band-Aid on it, ooh, ah, ooh, cast, ooh, ah, ooh, you out for a couple of weeks, it heals, you go back to, doing the things necessary with precautions. Men, what I don't like hearing and seeing when they're talking about men's mental health is that you, ladies, cannot hear it because of the way our voice projects when we're in trauma. The sound of our voice is the pain. The sound of the voice is the pain. It is not for you to handle. Some of you cannot handle it. Some of you will not be able to handle it. Don't try it. Instead, coach him along to getting the outside help that is necessary, needed, so that way he can find sure footing for himself. And then that man will open up once he finds his sure footing. But he has to find it. You can say all day he has a problem, he crazy, he got this going on, he need to be 302. You can say that all day. Where's that type of help? Where's that type of positive reinforcement? I know it's hard to hear it because a lot of people think that, oh, where is this coming from? This comes from a lot of irritation. Because as a person that is experiencing trauma on a daily basis, I keep trying to find, and I'm successful in the most part, of finding positive ways through perpetual motion and doing things, not to not think about it, but taking that energy and redistributing it in a very positive and purposeful way. It's energy that's there. And I have a choice. I have a choice to live how God sees me or how people want me to see through the pain that I've experienced over this period of time. People want you to break down. When you say that you're not okay, they expect that you're just this big ball of melted ice cream, that you can't get it together. And that's not the case in men. The majority of us, especially those that have conversations amongst men, that type of camaraderie where men get together and in their own way have discussions about that. And I just want to say, unless you're a man, you're not going to understand the voice. It's always in the tone and the inflection of the way that it's said by a man that's dealing with trauma. It's always that way. That's something hard for you to deal with, because somewhere inside of your sensitive self, it's going to prick you because, number one, you don't understand. Number two, you're going to take it personal. Number three, once you got those two things in the way, you ain't trying to hear it anyway. You cannot fix a man that is broken. There was always going to be something unrequited in them if they don't deal with it properly. How so? Look at the large percentage of men in the bars. Look at the large percentage of veterans in the bars. And I'm not coming at anybody. I'm just being truthful. Truthful. I'm not here for your feelings. That's not what the wonderful world of Rich Blye on cmpradio.net is for. It's about reality. I think you get enough garbage on some of these other networks, and I think you get enough garbage that comes across your phone that really doesn't have any relevancy of what you really want to hear and what you need to hear on Men's Mental Health Day. It's Monday. See, this is where we have to keep the ball rolling, men. This is where we have to keep the conversation fresh. This is where we have to ensure that people understand that when we talk about trauma, what kind of trauma are they talking about? Physical, mental, health? Let's talk about the way how man sees you. As a man, another man in front of me, you good? Yeah, I'm good. I'm straight. That's enough. I'm not asking no more questions. Why? It's none of my business. Now, if a man is like, my buddy, friend, blah, 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 and he's talking to me about something and he gives me that opening that he has to share something with me, I don't judge it at all. I can't. That's that man's experience. The only thing that I can do at a time when another man opens up and talks to another man about a situation is give them benefit of a positive experience that I may have had, or point him in the direction of something positive that can help him. Not trying to solve his problem. That's not what men want. We don't want you to solve the problem. We want to solve it. Don't you hear in that man's trauma, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what's going on. I can't help. That's a man that's lost. The GPS, the directional find, the path that was laid, in our minds and in our hearts and our souls has been demolished. Demolished. No sure footing. So when another man sees another man down, especially if that's his homie, you know what he gonna do? He gonna stop everything. Hold on, wait a minute. We got a soldier down. And some other men will just step over that man. Or think that because of his circumstances that they deserve that. That they deserved to be down. This is why when I read the scripture and I read about how God sees us as earthly vessels versus what the man or the woman in front of us sees us, this is a big, huge contradiction, because if you are divinely made, then you have a divine vessel to bring forth divine things and be an inspiration for people. There's nothing you can limit yourself to, and there's nothing you're supposed to limit yourself to. But we have to deal with the trauma. And we have to get people to understand that in some ways, how do you see yourself? So how do I see myself? How do I see myself? Let me see. I see myself as a God-fearing man, number one. Number two, I see myself as a great father, great provider. I see myself as a good friend to people that I love and people that love me back. I know I'm a big part of the community events, and I'd give a return on the investment. What the community has put into me, I've given back without question. How do I see myself? Those are the positive things. Let's get to some of the ugly things. I see a man who's been stripped of his esteem and had to be quiet about it. I see a man who has to watch people painfully do things with other people who openly hate them and have to be silent about it because you're not going to believe who they are. So I have to be quiet about it, but that is absolutely painful. How I see myself is that when these things are like... It's not about what's happening to me. It's now what I'm watching happening to others. That's really irritating. And that's how I see myself, as somebody that's just observing what's happening to others and trying to warn them and trying to give them the best of a opinion or best of a example, and then watching people just say, you know what, I'm going to take what you said, exit stage right, keep it moving, and don't execute. And that is the biggest pain of all when it comes to what I do with people in the community. And that's another nail that drives down my esteem. People say, "Oh, Rich, you speak so well." And you have this vast knowledge and you have this vastness, but you're actually saying that you have low self-esteem? Yes. Yes. Because it's not where I don't believe in myself. It's just that sometimes I'm forced not to believe in myself. If that makes sense. That I'm made to feel like it doesn't matter or it's not worth it. I'm made to feel that. And that's kind of difficult to fight against. So, like I said, how God sees you, how in this therapy that I in this journey that I've partaken is always coming to you guys honestly and being that example and showing men that it's not a flaw to be honest about your trauma. Because that's always been the stigma and that's always been the stereotype. Because people think that there's a weakness. It's not. The more that I unload this trauma, the stronger I'm getting. Did you hear me? Everyone? Do you understand that? The more I exercise these demons, the more that I recognize them for what they are and what they can do to me and how it can harm me and how it does harm me, I'm not going to make the mistake that I hear and see and listen to where people say, I'm not doing it, I'm not talking to nobody. You're a fool. You don't want to save your life. You don't. You want to be pitied. You want someone to feel sorry for you, soldiers. And that's how it needs to be said. There's nothing gentle about coming to you when you know that you got some stuff from your past and your present and you looking at a future and you are undecided about something and you know that you need to either go and talk to your imam or talk to your pastor or talk to your deacon or get into some type of professional help and talk to somebody so you can get your footing together. See, here's the thing. Satan thinks you're worthless. And when that type of spirit and that type of thing where they think that you're worthless, that's also in the people that he's already infected who also try to put you into that place of making you feel as though that you are worthless. And for quite some time this year, I had to wrestle with that because, once again, like I said, I've been called upon to participate in several forums for this Delco America 250 PA. Had conversations of interest, people hitting me up, going to events, blah, 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 blah. And you wouldn't know it. Because you have people in this county, in this township, who feel as though that there are some people who are worthless, that they have zero value. Zero. And imagine knowing your value, and these people keep coming to you and saying, be a part, we understand. Be a part. We know you understand. Okay. I believe you. And once I started believing that I knew that they were going to lie to me, I was able to chip away at that low esteem. I was able to chip away because once I stopped putting myself down inwardly, I realized that, hey, You know what I mean? It's very uncommon. I mean, it's very common for people who have low self-esteem to be classified as losers. That they're not competitive. And that's a trauma that I had to face just within the last week. So this one's kind of fresh because it was, absolutely out of nowhere that there was a drop. And I dare not say testosterone. I dare just say circumstances, reviews. We're in the 3rd month of the year, and looking at every aspect of what a man should have, or a man like myself rather, should be doing with respect to this community, with respect to the celebration coming up. And once again, for the most part, the only time that you hear about Delco 250, folks have been either on these airways right here, some stuff that you've seen on TV, the stuff that's going on in Washington D.C., and I don't even know. I don't even know what's going on in Washington D.C. anymore. I don't even want to talk about it. I'm not even torn about it. I understand what the hell's going on. And I'm going to say this again. Chester is a black city. It needs to stay that way. You don't need no affordable housing. You need people who will litigate these landlords into and getting their license inspection department fully staffed and go around to these buildings and make them rehab the existing structures on some of these fine, beautiful buildings instead of letting people demolish them and take the stone and build foundations off of the old stonework from out of this city someplace else. Oh, they reuse bricks, right? Ask any mason. Ask any stonemason. They reuse bricks all of the time. Take your foundation right from you, guys. So how do you see yourself? How do you see yourself when you're dealing with your trauma, when you're dealing with the things that concern you, when you're dealing with that inner man? How do you see yourself? Do you feel like that you're not accomplishing enough? Do you feel as though that people don't, expect that much from you? What is it about you that you aren't motivating yourself to do? That's the burning question. And I think that, and like I said, this is my opinion based upon an observation that's steeped in truth. I think a lot of times we're afraid to be self-starters, that we have to be pushed or jumped into this situation. We got to be led, that we really don't want to do it, but we really want to do it. I really don't want to do it, but I really want to do it. I really don't want to do it. Okay, I'm here. That's stupid. And I'm not saying that because, it's been some time for me with my trauma and this therapy or anything like that. I'm saying from the very beginning, I accepted my fate because I could not control the emotional cascade that was happening with my life. I couldn't. It was definitely spiraling out of control. Some days I knew I was going. Some days I knew I was going. And some days it was just like, hey, I'm up all the way. For no reason. And that's a very hard thing to deal with when the body and the mind is not working in sync with the spirit. It's very hard to get a focus and to get a balance. And I think that that's what a lot of folks need to understand when it comes to men's mental health, that it's not going to be some cookie cutter print based upon what somebody who has the letters in front of their name or behind their name or whatever experience that you might have went through that may be similar. This is not one size fits all. This is not one size fits all. And I've come to learn that everybody's pain is not the same, but I think that everybody's approach should be without fear. That once you are diagnosed, that once it is explained to you that these are symptoms that you're going through based upon behaviors, patterns, words, conditions, environment, whatever, that your next immediate step is to heal thyself, make a firm commitment inside of your mind, and forget what everybody else feels about you having to do so, because at the end of the day, they're not the ones that's got to make you live. They're not the ones that's going to walk down the street with you. I don't care how close somebody is. Your closest A Spoon Coon, your family member, your wife, your husband, you know what I mean? Your significant can walk next to you the next day because you don't understand what this person needs. We've seen it. Suicide. That's part of the issue. And I'm not saying that it's supposed to work for everybody. We know the percentages of where it's just going to happen. Unfortunately. But we don't have a mandate, man. So what you gonna do? Wait for somebody to lead you to the water so you can drink it? Or are you gonna take charge of your life? Where have all the flowers gone? Hold on. I want to read these words to you. You know that song by Earth, Wind, and Fire, right? Where have all the flowers gone? Tell me where have all the flowers gone? Long ago. I'm gonna make sure I get it right. Okay, I'll make sure I get it right. So hold on. Let me read the words so that way I can get it right. Where have all the flowers gone? Long time passing. Where have all the flowers gone? Long time ago. Where have all, hold on. Where have all the young girls gone? Gone to young men, every one. When will they ever learn? When will they ever learn? Long time passing. Where'd all the young girls gone? Hold on a second. Where have all the young men gone? Where have all the young men gone? Gone to soldiers, every one. When will they learn? When will they learn? Where have all the young men gone? Long time passing. Where have all the graveyards gone? Gone to flowers, every one. Men, we are missing out on some of the best parts of life. And we're going to go to the flowers. Instead of flowers being presented to you, instead of your accolades being presented to you for all the great work that you have done, your flowers will be at your burial. That is the deepness. That is the sum of it at the end of the day. This is what we feel, man. We feel that anger. We feel that animosity. We feel that sense of rejection. We feel that sense of not being irritated. And we feel that sense of people not understanding. We feel all of that. But unfortunately, in this age of battle of the sexes, you understand that we can't approach our counterparts the same way. So what can you do? Ready? Hold on. Ring the bell on this. Time out. Time out. You can take a time out. I know that sounds childish, ladies, but men, that is the best defense. When your trauma is getting the best of you and somebody's not understanding you, you can take what's called a time out. I'm serious. Live by it. You'll appreciate me for it. It's the truth. Don't worry about what nobody say about that, okay? That's free game. That's free game. This is for the young men. When she mouthing off too much, whatever. This is how you deal with it. Time out. Take a walk. Go breathe, go smoke, go do something. Go do something else other than. And minimize the amount of trauma that you allow to put on you, that's being trying to be put to you. See, it's not deflection. It's just that you're not supposed to carry nobody else's bad goods. Nowhere on this planet are you supposed to carry somebody's bad goods. So this compounded syndrome that we have, where we have to deal with everybody else's stuff and deal with our own, but not able to speak it past an existence so we can deal with it. Look how much more you got to deal with. So take a time out. Take a time out and assess what's going on for real. What's yours? What isn't yours? What type of drama you want to deal with? What type of drama you're not going to deal with? If you want to be with somebody, if you want to be single, so what? Everybody's not going to be in your corner. And there are times where you are going to be doubted and questioned. You have to be able to handle that. Especially for my young men. I'm not saying nothing to the OGs, because if you're in the relationship, you already know what you're doing, so that's not for you. What is for you is making yourself stay healthy so you can enjoy the good life and be surrounded by your family. And that's where I'm trying to get to, because I'm looking at the age rate lately of the deceased, and they're in their 50s or younger. And I'm not talking about celebrity deaths. I'm talking about age group, mine. Some by suicide, some by, natural causes, some by some other stuff that's already been out there. I'm not even going to get into that because, again, not my monkey, not my circus. We got an issue. And we all have to stay healthy, mentally, spiritually, and physically. And that means understanding and addressing the issues that are keeping you from having the happy, healthy mental health that you need for your life, men. For your life, men. Take control of it with authority. You'll feel better. Your people appreciate you too, because it puts you on that solid footing. It actually will have people admire that you have an inner, deeper strength in order to deal with it, because that's not what I'm looking for, but that's what I'm told. And I'm like, I'm just trying to live. I'm being honest. I'm just trying to live. And what I realize is that, as I said to my granddaughter, Michaela, this weekend, I make my trauma public so that way you could see by the example how your pop-pop loves you. Why is that? Because now you don't have to suffer through these things. You know that you're beautiful. You know that you're loved. Let me show you a different world where you don't have to worry about nobody feeling as though that you're ugly. Let me show you a world where you can absolutely be the person that you want to be and put you around people, places, and things of people that love you. And I got to have my granddaughter this weekend. And it was great therapy for me, but I also knew that there was budding or beginning trauma with her, and as far as how she felt about herself. I didn't yell at her. I just gave her some positive reinforcement of values that she already knows that she gets at home, mom, dad. And we watched the New Edition movie. Let me say, I saw snippets of it because you guys know I don't watch TV. I don't watch television. And I sat there and I watched it, and I watched it with her so that, because there was content and stuff like that. But I helped her to understand the positive side and the negative side of people who say they love you and then people who really don't love you. And in the same way that I taught my daughter Tanisha the same value during the 80s, late 90s rather, and showed her about life on the street, the real, raw, gritty life on the street. Had actual people talking to her. But in this case, 2026, I just took her around Delco. And she got to see people in their natural environment being different. And realizing that because of environment, that she could be comfortable. And what I wanted her to take back with her was some of that esteem that Pop has. And take it back with her and use that as her torch to light her way. But like I told her, everything comes at a price. And Pop paid the price. My job is to make sure that it doesn't happen to you. And that's by being honest about my life, because yes, our elders, they weren't honest with us. We didn't have these talks. It was taboo. It was a stereotype. It's shameful. You were clowned for it. I guarantee ain't nobody gonna come up to my face and clown me about having no conversation about myself. I guarantee that. No, you won't. No, you won't. Because then you'll show that insecurity that I know that's inside of you. And I'm not being braggadocious. I'm just saying, you can't beat me with my pain. You can't take my trauma and beat me with it. This is why it's important to be as open and as honest and be an example of it, because a lot of men are beat with their pain. It's flipped on them. It's flipped on them. You tell somebody you love, woo, you tell somebody you love where your deepest hurt is, it's coming back. And it's coming back with 9 more lashes to it. And it's already got the alcohol ripped through it. And it's going to wrap all in and tear skin. And that's why I believe, in my opinion, when I talk to people who have talked to me about different things that have happened in their life, men, they don't want to talk about it because they get it turned on them. That pain gets turned on them. And there's nothing more hurtful to a man for you to tell someone that you love about where your deep hurt is, and they use it in a sentence. And it starts with, that's why you probably. And all you can do is go, wow. And you sink back into that hole, and you sink back into that shell. Now, outwardly, there's a smile. Outwardly, there's this big, hey, this amazing guy. But at the end of the day, that person has to retreat back into himself. And usually the love that comes out of him goes back to retreat to his shell without having any for himself. And that happens a lot, people. That happens a lot. You have to give and take. You have to give and take. There are a lot of giving people who don't feel loved because they're giving people. There's a lot of people who are rightfully being honored as of late, but there's a whole lot more, and we have to play catch up, and we have to make sure that we're doing it frequently, that it's just not an oversight thing, that it's not just a publicity thing. It's a genuine, let's get these people their flowers. Let's do it. There are folks who have contributed to the fabric, not only with the city of Chester, but Delco itself, that are constantly overlooked for whatever reason. And what we don't want to continue to see throughout history is demeaning those who have made a positive contribution for generations, and then they're forgotten about only to be uncovered maybe 50 or 60 years after their deaths. That's not fair. Case in point. Do you know who, oh, let me read his name real quick. You're going to love this one. My bad. Hold on. Hold on, I got to pull this up real quick. Who was Solomon Butler? Sol Butler was a black quarterback for the New York Giants. Sol Butler was born March 3rd, 1895 in Kingfisher, Oklahoma, the youngest child of Ben and Mary Butler. His father had born enslaved in Morgan County, Alabama in 1842. He had fought his way free during the Civil War and had taken the new last name of General Benjamin Butler, a Union officer that he admired. The family eventually settled in Hutchinson, Kansas in 1909. Sol, being a kid, barely in his teenage years, had already been running like the ground owed him something. By his junior year at Hutchinson High School, he was a spectacle. At a single district meet in 1913, he won 6 first-place finishes, broke 5 meet records, and unofficially broke a world record in the 50-yard dash, all at the age of 16. His older brother Benjamin and their high school coach relocated to Rock Island, Illinois, and Sol followed in his senior year in 1914, facing 300 of the best track athletes in the Midwest at a regional meet held at Northwestern University in Chicago. The son of a formerly enslaved man competed alone against tired teams. He placed in the 60-yard dash, the hurdles, the 440, and the broad jump. He broke a meet record, tied a world record, and finished 4th overall by himself. Nobody had to tell Sol Butler that he was fast. He went to WQ German College, where he earned 12 varsity letters in football, basketball, baseball, track and field between 1915 and 1919. According to Arthur Ashe's book, Hard Road to Glory, Butler was the first African-American to serve as starting quarterback for all 4 years of his college career. He averaged 25 yards a carry on the football field. He rolled up a 125 to nothing score over Buena Vista College. He went to the Penn Relays, won the championship twice. In 1919, he swept both the 100-yard dash and the broad jump in a single afternoon. Then he went into the Army. And Private Solomon Butler shipped off to represent the United States at the Inter-Allied Games in Paris, a military Olympics held in the summer of 1919. 2 million soldiers were waiting for ships to carry them home from a war that ended faster than anyone expected. Pershing Stadium had about 20,000 people that summer, and troops from 18 nations competed in 13 sports. The Spanish flu was still circling the globe, and the Treaty of Versailles was still being argued over in back rooms across France. Sol Butler won the long jump with a leap of 24 feet, 9.5 inches. That's too short of the Olympic record. He was the only black athlete to medal at the entire competition. A New York Times reporter wrote that the crowd erupted in loud cheers for the American, and then the king of Montenegro knighted him. I keep talking about all these people that keep getting coronated and given chiefdoms and being knighted. Like, but you don't know who this man is. Seoul carried that knighthood and confidence into 1920, arriving in Antwerp as the heavy favorite for the Olympics, the games of the 7th Olympiad. He has set an Olympic trials record with a jump of 24 feet 8 inches and was the only one of 3 black Americans to qualify for the U.S. team that year. His very first jump in the Olympic preliminaries, though, he pulled a tendon. The injured leap measured past just 21 feet 8 inches, more than 3 feet shorter than what he had been doing all year. He was forced to withdraw. His pain-wrecked effort placed him in 7th. The gold medal he trained for his whole life slipped away in a single stride. So that ended his track career. He could never compete at the elite level at the broad jump again. But hold on. That didn't stop him either. He signed with the Rock Island Independents of the National Football League in 1923, and local newspapers about his debut and a victory over the Chicago Bears. His contract was sold to the Hammond Pros that November for $10,000. That was a serious sum at that time, 1923. He moved to the Archon Pros, the Buffalo Bisons, and eventually the Canton Bulldogs, where he was named the starting quarterback against, guess who? Legendary Pennsylvanian Jim Thorpe. The same season, he played with Paul Robeson and Duke Slater, 2 of the most remarkable men in American history. And that was in 1926 that the NFL showed Saul Butler exactly how it felt about a black man leading a professional team. The Canton Bulldogs were scheduled to play against the all-white New York Giants, owned by Tim Mara, in front of 40,000 fans, the largest crowd to watch an NFL game at that point in history. The Giants refused to take the field unless Canton pulled Butler from the starting lineup. You know what they did. They pulled him. They wouldn't play against a team led by a black quarterback, so a black quarterback was removed. So what did he do? He absorbed the humiliation the way that he absorbed the tendon in Antwerp and quietly set his jaw. People that knew him, he never let it show, but that cut real deep. He was finished with football in 1927. He briefly pitched for the Kansas City Monarchs in the Negro Leagues, but that didn't go well. And at that time, that's when he volunteered. He had to take a voluntary, and back out of the heart of sports. But he became a recreation director. Here's a man that came back and started coaching and mentoring young people in the heart of Black Chicago. He was a probation officer. He became a sports editor for 2 of the city's most important black newspapers, the Chicago Bee and the Chicago Defender. He built a talent agency and once represented Paul Robeson himself, his good friend. He opened up a cafe on a location previously run by Jack Johnson, the former heavyweight boxing champion of the world. He landed a key role in that film by Russ Sanders. He befriended the pioneering black filmmaker Oscar Mushanow and founded his own basketball team, the Chicago All-Stars. All of these facts alone would point to a remarkable life. But here's a man absorbing loss after loss after loss. Everything that this man successfully put to his life, here comes somebody taking it away. He worked in a tavern for 7 years, doing what he already did, moving somebody that needed to move out. If you acted a fool, you got to go. He told a man to leave. The man left, but the man came back and shot him, and there he died at age 59. And after his death, People who went through his home discovered that every medal, every trophy, every physical remnant of his extraordinary career had disappeared. The evidence of life spent breaking those records and those barriers ceased to exist in any tangible form. I don't know if they found these items or if they've been returned to his family or whatever, but I know one thing's for certain, two things for sure. No man achieving that level of success should have to die in any type of way where the world does not know that he made a carbon footprint. And that's why history is important. And that's why talking about the successes of people and the work that they do and the things that they have done in a positive fashion to help others should be talked about more openly and freely, so we don't have a whole bunch of broken men who feel that they have low self-esteem because they feel that they are not appreciated for the work that they have done. I've gotten to a point where, like I said, I make this a passionate plea where I have to tell people exactly where to get off at. This is your stop. This is where you get off. This is where you get off my nerves. This is where you get off my feelings. This is where you get off of trying to put me in a box based upon your ability to understand who I am. You're wrong. Your opinion of me doesn't match my opinion of myself. And it's okay to say those things. And I have to show those things as the man that I am, so that way someone else who's looking for that type of esteem says, wow, that's powerful. I need that. I need that. Take it. Take it. Take it. Don't be afraid. Deal with it, men. Deal with it, women. Deal with it. It's not that hard. It just feels that hard because we don't want to be honest with ourselves about the trauma that hurts us. We want to carry it. We just want to put that blankie up there. We want to put that binky up there and say, yeah, it feels good to talk about that 35 years ago. I had a bad relationship with my dad, but how's your relationship with it now? Well, everything's cool. You're carrying that BS. Did he say we're sorry about something? Yeah, then that's on you. Well, I didn't do it, then that's on you. Stop giving it to somebody else. Man, we do not have to take anybody's trauma, and it's not that we don't care about how nobody feels. No, we care about how you feel, but if it doesn't apply, let it fly. That's the part about it where people get it tangled up saying, oh, you don't understand how I'm feeling. Yes, we do. Especially when your partner is talking to you. And if your partner's talking to you and saying things to you for you to understand, then you need to listen a little bit more too. Fellas, we can be gentler, we can be kinder, we can bring our voices down. We understand that, sensitivity is a big, huge factor in people listening and everything like that. But who has the right to tell somebody how they should vent what's hurting them? If you ask for it, you got to be able to take it. There's no separation of gender. Because a woman can holler, scream, cry, break down, and just go about everything. And as a man, guess what you better do? You got to sit there. You got to take that. Some do it well. Some do it horrible. Some men don't care. I get it. But when it's the man's turn, because there's going to be turns with this, when it's his turn, are you as willing to accept what is coming from them instead of you thinking the way that they should present it? Because I see that a lot of women have a hard time with accepting certain things from men the way that they present it. It's like, Sometimes I believe that women want men to say it the way that they want them to say it, or how they think that they should say it, without understanding that the way that a man is saying it is just the way that he said it. What's the big deal? What's the big deal? Why does it have to be your way? And why does it have to be when you're ready to accept when that person needs to speak about something that is absolutely bothering them? Do you intentionally put off wanting to talk about it yourselves? Because I've heard from men that have said, my girl act like she don't even want to hear what I got to say. Just get over it. Man up. Y'all love that, don't you? Man up. There's a lot of people that have to understand that when you come into these spaces and come into these places and you have to talk about it, it has to be the way that the man has to talk about it with respect. I'm not saying that they need to get in your face and be like, rah, rah, rah. No, not like that way. But when that space gets opened, let it. And then when it gets closed, close it. If the habit isn't repeated, close it. Close it. Case closed. I think that that's part of a lot of different priorities where people don't get the fact that once it's dealt with and it's closed, let it be. Because nobody wants to be reminded of the past. The past is what it is. But if we keep using people's past as weapons, then you won't get that type of healing from out, especially out of a man. You're not going to get that type of healing. You're not going to get what you are looking for in this person to be as they go through their process. It's different now. There's a lot of different moving parts with this. And like I said, I'm not an expert. I just share mine. I just make it public. Hopefully that it helps somebody. It helps people understand. It helps people, it helps. And that's what I care about. That's all I care about. I'm not ashamed of it. People have been made to feel ashamed of their trauma, especially in men. They've been made to feel ashamed. And I think it's time for somebody to set the standard and say, I'm not going to be ashamed of my trauma. I'm going to explain where I come from with it on most days. I'm going to explain what it does to me in a positive fashion. I'm going to explain what it does to me in a negative fashion. I'm giving my opinion based upon my own environment, which is based upon the fact of me dealing with the emotional and physical traumas of the past few years. So I'm not speaking on other people's trauma. I'm not telling other people how to do theirs. I'm just saying how I'm doing mine and how I feel as though that if you're going to tackle it with strength. Be aggressive for yourself. That's what I'm saying. Be aggressive for yourself. Love yourself enough to want to heal. Don't make excuses. Don't make excuses. And don't allow anybody to come into that space and make those excuses for you or give you an out. You have to stand. You must stand. There's a whole bunch of people that are dependent upon you, some of them of which you created. You cannot, men, fall down. You are the new soldiers. While we have our brothers and sisters in arms fighting overseas and being deployed and being, set up to, jump from one puddle to the next, this is the time where strength has to match the same type of steel. We can't have any divisions, men, and we can't have any breakdowns We can't have any breakdowns. We can't have any breakdowns. It's time for everybody to take their places, their natural places, their natural positions. No one's stepping in front of the woman. But our job as men is to stand with or stand in front to be a shield and a protector. Now, I know that, hey, listen, ladies, I get you. I'm not talking about you. I'm not talking about you guys today. I want to talk to these men. And I want them to understand that no matter how diminished you may feel, somebody's going to give you that positive energy for you to stand. There is an example in front of you, whether it is in your spirituality, whether it's in the gym, working out, whether it's doing whatever, however you're doing it, reinforce yourself with value and with pride. Reinforce yourselves. Remember, what man sees in you is always going to be different from what you see in yourself. And what you see in yourself is always going to be different from what God sees in you. And that's where we wrestle. That's where we wrestle. We wrestle in our spirit. We wrestle with other fleshly beings as far as, their opinions or lack of respect or whatever. And then we fight with ourselves. And that's what we need to acknowledge. Oh, no. Oh, good evening. Good evening. Good evening, everybody. For the ladies, I wasn't saying that I'm not talking to the ladies. I'm talking to everybody, but the emphasis tonight is men's mental health. A lot of the segments and programs have given different opinions, views, and personal experiences based upon what they feel as though that men are afraid of, what men won't do, what men aren't doing, how it's not done, how it's not talked about. And I'm just here to bring a different type of perspective for that by being the example in the affirmative that yes, we can. And not be afraid of it and not be embarrassed by it. You know what I mean? If you want to laugh at my pain, go right ahead. But I can tell you right now, the amount of people that have laughed at my face, it goes up the block and around the corner. Go stand in line. It don't bother me. Like I said, I wrestled with it earlier in this year and had to identify exactly what the heck was going on with me because I felt the shift in the way that I was processing and handling certain things, and I couldn't put my finger on it until I had more in-depth conversations and really keyed into the fact that, yes, I did have a drop in my esteem. It fell for whatever reason. And then I had to identify the reason. And that drop was because I felt as though that with my participation, with my showing up to represent for Delaware County, to represent for Delaware County Council, to represent for Delco PA 250, I was sought after, I was asked, I was invited. You take my picture, but you don't print it. Have a whole Q&A session and put things right to the point with, some of our esteemed leaders, and, there's no conversation about it, but I see the blueprints and I see the fingerprints of things that I have said being implemented because I'm not stupid, because I put things out there, and you can just see it. But have fun. Have fun. But for the people to understand something, the ideas and the concepts do not come from your government. It comes from you. It comes solidly from you. Make sure that you are equipped to handle you. Make sure you are ready. Make sure that you're prepared. Okay? Now, that's it with Men's Mental Health Monday. Give me a second. There's something I want to talk about that's like really near and dear to me. And I want to make sure I got the right paperwork for that. I'd like to take the time to tell each and every male descendant, adopted son, stepson, that you can be members of the American Legion, and you can be a member of the Sons of the American Legion in your local area or at the Upper Darby American Legion Post 214. Okay, all male membership eligibility to be a part of the Sons is all male descendants, adopted sons, stepsons, and members of the American Legion, and such male descendants of veterans who died in service during the periods of April 6, 1917 through November 11, 1918, or any time from December 7, 1941 to date, who served honorably as set forth in Article 4, Section 1 of the National Constitution of the American Legion, or who died subsequent to their honorable discharge from such service, shall be eligible for membership in the Sons of the American Legion, also known as the SAL. The reason why I'm talking about membership eligibility to your American Legion is that everyone needs replacements. And in your community, the American Legions all across the United States, but specifically in Delaware County, serve that purpose, and membership is crucial. I would love for you to come to our American Legion down at 6914 Chestnut Street. If you are closer in the area, we're there every Wednesday from about 12 noon to about 8 o'clock. You can see the hall manager there, one of the post commanders, myself, and, come in and take a tour and have a conversation and see if this is something that is for you. Now, please understand that with a lot of these privileges that we receive as members of the SAL, it comes with a 5-point program of service, and it comes with a 10 Ideals program. And the 10 Ideals program is a study program recommended for school-age children that includes patriotism, health, knowledge, training, honor, faith, helpfulness, courtesy, reverence, and comradeship. Camaraderie, pretty much. Why is that necessary? Well, either your child's going to bond somewhere between sports, a club, or the streets, a band. But we can do all of these things at an American Legion. A lot of these ideals come with thinking outside the box, and in order to make sure that we're inclusive to our communities. And once again, as you can see, that the doors open with these 10 ideals. We deal with a 5-point program of service. The study program is for members who have completed the 10 ideals. It's recommended for younger members, but not limited to just them. This program includes patriotism, love for the flag and love for the country, citizenship, individual obligation of citizenship, discipline, respect for and obedience to rules, leadership, participation in group activities, and Legionism, knowledge of the American Legion. So again, there are a lot of different aspects that I'm looking to, introduce people to, get you outside the box a little bit, be a part of the Americanism that has been fought for by your ancestors, by your uncle, dad, brother. Get involved. There's a lot that you can do by becoming a member of your local American Legion. Hopefully, the American Legion in Upper Darby, post number 214. Okay? All right. That's what we're going to do with that. Now, my favorite time, current events. I saved the current events for last because this is just wacky. How much money does that reporter owe Cardi B? And how many of y'all are giving that woman money in a GoFundMe? This is what I'm talking about with drama, that you got to have a little bit of drama. And seeing as though that I'm just going to keep this little spice up real quick, why is it that we are patronizing fools? I thought we talked about this. You got a woman out here who has to pay her what, $3 million, $2 million, something like that, and she behind on her bills, so she's starting to GoFundMe to get y'all to pay Cardi B. Cardi B got the biggest hustle going on since 50 Cent. Both of them New York characters is robbing y'all. 50 robbing the internet for content, and Cardi B getting paid off of the fact that y'all gonna feel sorry for somebody. You got to be careful with who you talk about. You have to be certain that when you're talking about somebody specifically, it's because you were in close proximity to hear what they either said or did, or you have it in black and white, or you're speaking on something that they've already revealed to the public and you're expressing your opinion. A lot of times when people are trying to give content a certain way, you could fall liable and or defame. You have to be careful. See, it's easy to talk about somebody, but unless you know that somebody, you're just talking. Be careful. Be careful, folks. Don't run with the first thing that you hear. Don't run with the first story that you hear coming out of somebody's mouth. Don't run with that. Don't run with it. Don't. We live in a day and age where misinformation is at an all-time high. AI is being used to distort facts. Like, case in point, they're talking about, during 1979, the Ayatollah Khomeini let 13 black people go because they said they wasn't going to keep no black people. And yes, they did let 13 black people go. And yes, they did say they was going to not let them keep them, but they kept one for the whole 444 days. And I was privileged to have a conversation with someone who absolutely went to school with him in Detroit. Had the privilege of absolutely, when I did that research, to follow up on a lead and was like, wait a minute, I think I know this person in Detroit. And I was absolutely right. And I got to hear more about this man, black. So I want people to understand something. Unless all are free, none are free. Isn't that the often heard maxim that's made about freedom from slavery or a hostage situation or in our celebrations? And if all aren't free, none are free. See, we have the luxury of picking and choosing freedom now for everybody. I love it. I love freedom for you, no freedom for you, limit your speech over here. You can't come in and sit I don't know what's going on, but some of y'all probably need to switch over right about now and find out if you have a fire station in Upper Darby Township that's either going to close or is going to do something or whatever. They doing a whole inquiry on your fire station right now. Just like they closed one in Chester. Just like they closed one in East Lansdowne. But we got some of these landlords who are behind on L&I inspections that like to set fires. Be careful. Be careful, folks. It's going to be a hot summer. Some people have already been paid off. I'm letting you know. Because usually after they close a fire station, you start to get a whole bunch of fires. Coinky-dink? I don't think so. Coincidence? I don't think so. Fate? I don't think so. Design? Absolutely. Absolutely. So what are we going to do, folks? Are we going to be vigilant? Or are we going to continue to stick our face in the sand when it comes to the truth with what we're seeing and what we need to understand of what's happening to us locally? Please do not be fooled by the glitz and the glam. Please do not be distracted by the glitz and the glam. Make sure that you are paying attention to your meetings. Make sure that if you have the opportunity to go in public, and even if you just go up to a microphone and say your name, I just came up here to say I was here, that goes to the public record. If you're afraid to go, grab one of these teenagers and get them to start their business in public service, because that's what's going to start happening with my teenage grandchildren, is to get them in these places so they won't be led astray by people that's going to smile on their face and say, vote for me, and they'll never see them again. There's a lot of people that want your vote. A lot of people that want your vote. Are you going to see them again? Are they going to continue to work for you in the manner that they're working? Please do not hit me with the black stuff no more. Okay? Because we see what has happened inside of the parties. They sacrificing a whole bunch of your favorite candidates. Jasmine Crockett got knocked out the box. Please don't say election fraud, because the stats have proven that the Hispanics in Texas have their own agenda. The Hispanics in Texas help vote the other guy in because they have a different agenda. That's what happened. Poll numbers. So you get mad all you want, but the facts still bear out the facts, and you got to get over it. And you got to get over it quick. But you got to pay attention to that, folks. You got a group of people who now have a different agenda with your community and how you like to live, and where you like to, and where you like to live, and how you want it run. Once again, you have people who want to come back and take Chester back to the good old days, the good old boys, and doing this and doing that, and not giving Chester a chance to go forward with his momentum. And you got in-house spies, in-house clout chasers, in-house people that are conspiring to make sure that we go back, and how disgraceful it is to have people liquored up and at meetings, once again, remnants of Upper Darby, using union members to be disruptive and didn't say a word in these chambers, but especially if they get someone that opposes their view or has a different type of color or has a different type of letter, behind their name, out of a two-party system, you see just how much of the hate really starts to expand. I still say, folks, we're built off of the same white supremacist structure, but now the shift of the white supremacy knows no color. This ain't about color no more. This is about economics. This is about social positioning. This is about where they want people to be realistically. There's no more affirmative action. It ain't coming back. People have gotten comfortable with the fact that, hey, if you want to use your skin and you want to use your color as a crutch, as an excuse, you go right ahead, cry baby. It's going to happen. Nothing. Not anymore. You are on your own. You better get used to it. You got to save yourself. You got to put on that full armor. You got to ensure that you are honest with yourself about your trauma so you can deal with it yourself, man. You. Whether you deal with it silently, it'll come out. It'll be a conversation. You'll feel better about it. Find someone, whether it be your imam, whether it be a pastor, whether it be a professional, whether it be somebody that you know that you can trust that's not going to beat you with your pain. Talk to them. Do not roll around with this in a tight fist clenched, your jaw clenched for the rest of your life and dying of a stroke, dying of a heart attack, dying of a brain aneurysm, dying because you feel alone, dying because you think nobody can relate to you, dying because you made to feel like your esteem is that you're worthless, that you don't have value. You do. I'm here to tell you that you have value. I'm here to tell you that you can rejuvenate your spirit. I'm here to tell you to let you know that these things can be done and they will be done. But make sure that you take care of you. Make sure you take care of you. And that's the bottom line. Everybody's going to have an opinion. Everybody's going to have a stereotype. People are going to make fun of men speaking about the stereotype of mental health. I'm here to tell you, so what? I'm glad that I got the help and the support that I need to be able to come out of the compounded grief that I suffer from. It still doesn't mean I don't have a battle to face every day. And like I said, I face it every morning. I wake up to it. It's there to greet me. It's there. Some days I'm good at battling, and some days, it is what it is. But it is what it is, but it's mine. I claim it. And that's what you have to do. If you want to beat something, own it. If you want to challenge something, own it. Make it yours. Make it personal. Once you own it, you'll be able to hold it in your hand and look at it from all sides instead of trying to push it away, trying to push it underneath the rug, trying to shove it in the closet. When you own it, you got to look at it. You got to turn it around in your hands. You got to Rubik's Cube it. You got to figure it out. Your manhood won't let you down in that factor. It's going to say, yeah, so we dealing with this, that, but remember, you forgot this side. And you didn't deal with that over here. You didn't put that color together, and you knew that you're supposed to put that color together. And as you start Rubik's Cube in your life, you'll start to see a pattern. And when you start to see that pattern, you can move effectively. Now, like I said, one size does not fit all. My opinion is my opinion. But we got to start somewhere, man. We can't keep letting people judge us, incriminate us, stigmatize us, and beat us with our pains. This ain't crying. This is not asking for help. Thank you very much for your concerns, but I got my help. My help comes from the Lord who made heaven and earth. My strength comes from the Lord who made heaven and earth. That's where it starts first. Then after that, all the other intangibles fall into place. all of the other intangibles fall into place. But for the men today, on Men's Mental Health Day, which is every Monday on my show for 2 hours, happy International Women's Day, happy International Women's Month, happy Women's History Month. You're welcome. But today is Men's Mental Health Day. It's every Monday. It's every day, every Monday, because we're going to talk about it so we can get out of this stigma that we're placed in, so we can stop having people talk about what men should do who are not qualified as anything to tell a man how to feel like a man or anything else like that. And that's not being sarcastic. That's just speaking with a certain authority, because we have to assert ourselves in order for us to heal. And it's really that simple. We have to. We have to find that positioning that made us men in the first place and reconnect or reconstruct or reconfigure or do a remodel of the manhood the manhood situations that got us destroyed, so we can repair ourselves. That's what you have to understand about this reconstructive process when a man is going through trauma. It's not going to be built the way to the specifications. It's not going to give you a sun deck. You know what I mean? That might have been destroyed. That man's sun deck might have been destroyed. He might want to build a bunker. It's safer. You can fit, but understand the dynamics of why that man might need a bunker now. That's what you have to get with. There's periods of uncomfortability when a man is going through a trauma and process. It's not as easy as it is for women. I'm not saying it's easy for women, but you have more resources, more help. You have more understanding. You have more tangible things at your for everything that you need. But men do not. I know that people are working on it. I know people are saying that they're here to help or whatever, but I still hear the condemnation. I still hear the condemnation in voices when people talk about it. I still hear the judgmental in voices when people talk about it. And like I said, that's what we do. We speak with a voice first. And that voice and that tone is sometimes why people can't deal with when we're speaking, because that tone is very powerful. But that's the voice that God gave us. So when we speak with that tone, understand it's just a tone. It's not going to hurt you. You just got to take it. Brother P, you got something for me? All right. Well, with that being said, folks, I just want to let you know that on the 21st, we have the Clean Air Seminar that's going on. Where's that going over? Over in Brookhaven? That's going to be on the 21st. What time is that getting started? I don't know. All right. Something like that. It's advertised. Y'all see it. I keep seeing this advertised. I'm like, we get advertised for the Clean Air. I know, bro. Mm-hmm. Those monitors have cameras. Those monitors have cameras. Listen, I just want to know, is it AI driven and all the other type stuff? That's what I'm trying to figure out. I'm just trying to figure out how the machine works. Yeah, I know. I just listen, bro. Listen, it's March 21st, 11 to 3, 11 to 3, 11 to 3. Redwood Community Center, 286th Street, Brookhaven. Okay. March 28th, 11 to 3 at the Cat Center. 2300 West 4th Street. Lots of free giveaways and refreshments and all the other type stuff, balloons, music, and all the other good stuff. It'd be a good look, folks. Take your kids over there, have something to do 2 Saturdays in a row. You know what I mean? Find out about the quality of your air, meet some good local people. The weather should be nice, absolutely. I just want to let everyone know on the 28th, from that's Saturday, March 28th, The Upper Darby American Legion will be having its Vietnam Veterans breakfast brunch. That will start from 9 and it'll go to 1 o'clock. All veterans are free. Everybody else is $10. You can feel free to stop in anytime during that time. If you need to take it to go, not a problem. I know people have to, be at other places, but stop into your local Upper Darby American Legion, grab your breakfast brunch, come say hi to me, come say hi to my commanders, and come support Vietnam Veterans Day. That's the award that my father fought in, so it's definitely going to be a good look for me to give back to my community and give some service to some veterans that are hungry and want to eat and also be entertained. But that's what we got for the show. See you guys on the flip side.